So there are always some games that we always end up coming back to, no matter how similar they always tend to be. There are a few franchises out there that will always stay with you, regardless of how many times that you've played the exact same game over the last, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years even. So, the most obvious one that we're all going to say right away, so the D ends with Dynasty Warriors. Put those two together, that's a real brain twister, that one. But that's probably one of the biggest examples. And honestly, I think, Matt, you're probably one of the biggest fans of Dynasty Warriors that I know, because I don't think you've ever talked bad about any of those games.
I didn't like the Fist of the North Star one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like the one Warriors game that I gave like a 3 out of 5, 2 or something.
So it's still like decent score.
It was fun enough, but yeah, Fist of the North Star on the PlayStation 3 was not a thing that I was that keen on. But yes, I'm a
Berserk one, right?
The Berserk one was another one that I wasn't huge on, and I guess we can talk about that in a minute. I think I gave that one a 3.5, so it was still fine. I still enjoyed it, and that's certainly the release of a new Warriors game was the reason that we wanted to do this section on the podcast this month, because there is a Toucan Ranbu Warriors game that just came out this week as we record this, and yeah, it's another Warriors game that I enjoyed a great deal. I think I've played like 60 of them now since I got into the series, and I got into it quite late because the first one I played was actually Samurai Warriors 3 on the Wii, and there was a whole bunch of them released before then, and I hadn't played any of them, mostly because the reviews kept saying they were crap and I shouldn't play them. And I wasn't going to play Samurai Warriors 3, except I was given a copy and told I had to because I was doing Game Pro at the time. And I was like, I like this. why is everybody else being mean to this game? Why is everyone being mean to this series? I like it. And I haven't looked back since. The lowest I've given is Fist of the North Star, which was a 3 out of 5. Most of them are much higher. Most of them are like 4.5 or 5 out of 5 games for me. And people think that it's like being corrupted by yacht money from Koei. I don't have a yacht. I would like a yacht, but I don't have a yacht. I don't get money from Koei Tecmo. I just genuinely enjoy the games.
Yeah, heaven forbid.
Yeah, I know. How dare I enjoy a game, a series?
Yeah, it's pretty illegal.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a big time fan of that series. And it is weird because they do obviously change and evolve, and playing a Warriors game now is very different to what Samurai Warriors 3 was, even 15 odd years ago, or whatever it was. But despite the fact that they have evolved and changed and kind of grown up as a series, there is still something very kind of fundamental across all of them, which hasn't changed too much. And that's obviously the 1 versus 1,000 style combat, and you could chalk it up as button mashing or whatever you want to call it, but they do keep that same kind of fundamental across them all. So the fact that I can play 7 or 8 of them in a year and still enjoy every single one of them on that level is kind of odd, I guess.
It can't be that bad then.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why I like playing so many of them so much. Because with most games, I kind of get sick of them within the span of one. Like, for example, I'm not going to need to play another big open world action RPG now that I've played Horizon for another decade. Kind of tapped out on that formula. I tapped out on the Sony formula from just playing one of them this year. And yet, here I am looking forward to Fire Emblem Warriors just a week after having just played a Toucan Ranbu Warriors. So I don't know why I'm so like in love with that formula.
To be fair though, I feel like at least Warriors games are designed to turn your brain off a little bit, so you can kind of just get into the groove with it.
There is that.
Open world games are they're just monotonous, I find, and I can't deal with it.
There is that. I think that's certainly a thing. The fact that I can play it at 1 a.m. in the morning when I finally finish work on a day and just use it as a way of unwinding, that's certainly an appealing part about the Warriors games. And I think another part of it is I've taken so much out of those games that I feel some kind of, I guess, loyalty to the overall kind of concept of them. Because like Samurai Warriors was the reason I got into Japanese history. And after really enjoying the game and the characters and stuff, I went and wanted to learn about what the actual reality of it all was. And I've since been to battlegrounds in Japan. I've been to a whole bunch of castles, read books about all the various warlords, and yeah, I know a lot of stuff now. So that game got me into that. And it was similar with Dynasty Warriors, that I got into Chinese history, or at least that book, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, thanks to playing Dynasty Warriors. So there is that as well, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because there's such a sneering tone that a lot of people have towards that series as well. When it's like, what do you expect them to do? Make a different game? It's the same game. It's got the same name. What do you want from them?
Well, I think it's interesting because that series in particular is quite niche, and yet they still managed to churn out for multiple 4, 5, 6 of them or whatever a year, despite it being quite niche in terms of the audience. Whereas most of the really long running series that get a lot of games tend to be more mainstream, I think. So that is interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, Call of Duty is the same game. Every year it's the same game.
Yes.
Like, it's aggressively the same game.
And it is very kind of mainstream popular because of that. Like, they're just, they don't need to evolve it much. Whereas you might say that a Warriors game, well, people would argue that Warriors games need to evolve to kind of appeal to a broader audience because they're niche, but they don't, obviously. They still sell to the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
But what about, is there an open world one? Am I imagining that?
There is an open world one. Dynasty Warriors 9. That one did not go down well at all. That was a very unpopular one. I enjoyed it. You could travel across like the entirety of China in that one, and if you just got on horseback and just rode from one corner to the other of the map, it took you like 20 minutes or something. But what they did with that one was it was an open world game, but it was also a Warriors game, so it got rid of a lot of the open world stuff that people like, and I think that was part of the reason it wasn't. It just didn't hit home with.
Right, it didn't really fulfill either camps, really.
Yeah, people who went into it because they wanted an open world game didn't get that. People who went into it because they wanted a Warriors game didn't quite get that either, because Warriors games are always focused on like a single battle, and that changed how they had to approach the storytelling of it and all of that stuff. So yeah, that one, like I said, I enjoyed it, but that one really landed flat, and they probably
get absolutely just destroyed.
They probably will not. They probably will not be doing another open world Warriors game, I would imagine.
Battle Royale Warriors.
I mean, that kind of existed.
That's next.
Wasn't there a hack and slash? No, that's the JoJo one. Yeah, it's a JoJo Battle Royale game that's in arcades only in Japan, and it's basically that. Like, same sort of combat style. It's really cool looking, but I can't play it because it's Japan.
How does that work in a Battle Royale format?
You just like hit people, and it has the same sort of like combat mechanics. Yeah, like it's hard to explain without me just saying it's a hack and slash, but it's just pretty much a hack and slash. It's cool.
Basically, Smash Bros is a hack and slash.
Yeah, it is.
It is odd because they've never really tried to do competitive multiplayer in Warriors games.
Well, how would you balance it?
I'm not entirely sure why they haven't even tried it, but they haven't.
I've got a hot take. Oh, it's just a MOBA. It's just a different perspective on a MOBA. Oh my god, because think about it. You're pushing your army and you're taking camps and stuff, and that's what the towers are. It's just League. Everything's League of Legends in the end, and that terrifies me. I don't like that.
Yeah. But anyway, we're not just here to talk about Warriors games. We're talking about like long-running series that we never get sick of. So, Ryan, is there any series in particular that has been around for a while, has a lot of games, but if they had another one that was coming out, you would get yourself excited about it?
I mean, I don't really have a particularly interesting answer. I don't really, off the top of my head, I don't think I play anything that's annualized. Like I was thinking about this before, and I don't think I play literally any series that is annualized, which is interesting. But I'm terribly basic, and whenever a new Kingdom Hearts drops, I'll play that because I'm still a teenage boy. And any Mario game, like any like traditional like 2D or 3D sort of Mario game, like cool, I'll be there day one. To be honest, like I suppose the only not series necessarily, but for genres, like I would sit and play a different 3D platformer or a different 2D platformer or a Metroidvania pretty much every day. Like I could just play them successively in a row because I try and play lots of different types of games. But yeah, I could sit and play just like 30 different 3D platforms in a row and be fine with that, even if they were all
Even if they
quite-
were a cow the kangaroo.
Oh,
Do you
don't make
know
fun of
what?
KO the kangaroo. No.
Have you played the new one, Alan?
No, but I don't
Yeah,
need to
play it-
because I know
play it and
exactly
then
what it
let's-
is.
Play it and let's have a conversation about whether we should be making fun of the KO the kangaroo.
I mean, I know that I'm going to be making fun of KO the kangaroo, but I'm also. That was a game that like I saw on a shelf as a child, and I was like, "Wow, it's a kangaroo," and then I did not buy it because I went and got a good game instead. It's like
And
Jack
now
and
you're
Daxter
like
3,
regretting it
or-
every single day.
Yeah, oh, I wish it's in the same realm as like, because it wasn't even made in Australia. It was made in like Poland or something like that.
Yeah, it's a
It's
Swede.
so bizarre. I love it. I love that sort of energy where it's got very like bootleg energy, and I
Well, the weird thing
personally
is,
adore
I mean,
that.
I don't know about the original one, but with this one, the one that's just come out, they don't even try and give it an Australian tone. Like KO doesn't have an accent, as far as I can tell.
That's really good.
It's
That's perfect.
It's odd. It's just like he's a kangaroo, sure, but he's not an Australian. It's very different to the Ty the Tasmanian Tiger series, which goes all out with being Australian, which I find it.
I guess bandicoots are Australian though, right? They're Australian animals.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot wasn't particularly Australian, so I'll let them off.
Yeah, it's
I'll let
true.
off Cal the
They got
I'll let
to
off the
stop.
kangaroo.
They got to stop using our animals without.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Why is it just your animals?
Well, why isn't
Because
there a
who's gonna want to play
platypus?
like
Why isn't there a platypus
KO
one?
KO the frog?
I want a platypus platformer. Although he
Oh,
wouldn't be very good at
hell
jumping,
yeah.
would he?
No,
Or
they
like
just
a
like slide
Echo
around
the
and poison
dolphin.
people.
Like a Echo the Dolphin like game, but you're a platypus. That'd be great. I'd play that.
And then you
I
have to
would- I
like
don't reckon I'd play
survive
that too,
and make
yeah.
eggs and like eat them and other
And poison
weird
people,
platypus things.
like-
Yeah, I love that they poison people. Hell yeah.
Because every animal in Australia is deadly, even the cutest ones.
And it is by far the cutest of the poisonous animals. Like I would pet a platypus, I would not pet a spider.
So speaking about platypus, I read an interesting thing that it's like actually an animal from the Antarctic or something, like from Antarctica, like it's like based off like a lineage of animals which would have been from Antarctica, and then it's came up to. Wait, was it the platypus? The platypus or the echidna? I don't know. Well, I think it's pretty sure it's the platypus.
This
And
is,
the pla-
this is a reliable story.
and so the platypus is based off a lineage of animals from Antarctica, and that's why it's so distinct, even in Australian, like just batshit Australian like animals, because it's like this creature from like an unknown world.
I always
Human
like the
animal.
story. I like the story about how way back when Australia was being colonized, scientists sent a carcass of a platypus to England to research, and the English thought that they'd send it up as a joke and they'd actually just stitch together a bunch of different animals. I thought that's a funny story.
I do really enjoy that.
Yeah,
That's really
It's
good.
too weird to actually exist.
I love the idea of like it's like a Scrubs style situation where they're like, "What is this?" and then it plays like the goofy medical drama music in the background, like the exact like song that's like beep 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 beep, like that sort of energy. Oh, there's money in that. Hire me, Netflix.
for the medical drama platypus discovery show.
Oh, that's the full title.
That's
Well,
it.
that'll fix Netflix's problems. If they made that show, then they get subscribers again, for sure.
They should just make
Exactly.
every show a platypus show. For
Yeah.
real. Like just put them.
It worked for Phineas and Ferb.
That's the rule I live by. That's how I base my life.
Yeah,
Did
that's
it
why
work for Phineas and Ferb?
that's why House of Ashes was so good, because Candace was in it.
Getting back on topic, I guess. Speaking of platformers, you mentioned Mario, Ryan.
Yeah.
Would you play? I mean, Mario's a bit different, I guess. The Warriors one in that they do quite different things. The 2D platformers are different to the 3D land platformers, and then Mario Odyssey is its own thing. Is it just if you slap Mario on the box, then you're keen, or is there a particular requirement you have before you'll get yourself excited for a Mario game? Is like, do you only play the 2D ones, or?
No, I mean, I will play different ones, but it's not like, oh, it has Mario in it, I'm gonna play it. But all the 2D and 3D Marios, like, I mean, you could just print 3 of them out a year, and I'd happily play through all of them, to be honest. Even if, there's gonna be some that are remarkable, and some that maybe aren't. Like, I don't know, New Super Mario Bros. Wii is quite run of the mill, but I'd sit and play that any day and have a good time and be happy with that. Yeah, let's annualize Mario. Let's do it. Let's churn out the commercial machine that is Mario. Give me Super Mario Odyssey 2 this year.
They're
Give
not
me
that
Super
far.
Odyssey 3 and 4 next year.
They're not that far away from annualizing it anyway. I mean, Kirby is basically a Mario game.
Yeah, it's
It is. It's basically taking the 3D, the Mario Land 3D world. Sorry, that kind of Mario game, and just inserting a Kirby. Yeah, you get to munch on a car or two.
I don't like the way you said inserting a Kirby.
I mean, inserting
like that.
Kirby's is a good thing in games in general. A bit like platypuses, they should put Kirby's in every game. But
It should.
yeah, but it was basically the same kind of thing, I guess. Nintendo's got a formula there, and they're obviously using it, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, I would just play any run-of-the-mill 3D platformer and have a good time, to be honest. So, yeah.
It's why the best 3D platformer in recent years is Astrobot, even over Mario.
Oh, I love that.
Astrobot
that game
good.
was beautiful. Yeah, that team had a real sort of respect for the history of sort of PlayStation and stuff like that, which I thought was really interesting. Considering,
I really like.
Maybe the platform holder doesn't.
No, not the tech demo, the actual game, the VR game. Bad, Ryan.
Oh, well, it wasn't a tech demo. The PS5 one's not. Well, I suppose it is a tech demo, but it's still gorgeous. It's like 3 hours.
It was pretty cool.
It's great.
It is actually really cool. It is. They really pulled out all the stops to make that use the controller in really interesting ways. We still haven't seen anybody else do it.
There's going to be a proper Astrobot on the PlayStation 5.
No, there isn't, because the Astrobots
Yes,
come from Sony Japan, and we all know what Sony's like with its Japanese studios these days.
Ooh.
Sad.
No.
What about you,
happy
Trent?
still.
What's a long running series that you would always have time for?
Space Invaders, Tetris, Pac-Man, all the classics.
Really, you would play any game that had a Space Invaders thing on it? Because there's been a lot of
Extreme
bad
was
Space
really
Invaders
good.
games.
I would
Oh.
love a new Extreme.
Yeah,
Did
that'd
you
be great.
ever play that one that was like the PS2 one, but they turned it into a weird, like, humans running around on the ground shooting squids?
No?
Oh my
What?
god.
And it's
I'm
Space
interested.
Invaders.
No, I need to find this game. Ignore me. I'm going to find this game. Hold on.
Sure, it's not some kind of World
Are you
of the
talking-
Wars game.
Are you talking about the alien one where you kill cows and stuff? What's it called? Destroy all humans?
Space Invaders Invasion Day.
Really? I'm going to search this up now.
Are they
Oh, it's
squids?
awful.
They made them squids.
Yeah, it's like weird. But like they're bug squids.
Oh, wow.
Bug squids.
Space.
Yeah, this game, it sucked.
Oh, it's called Space Raiders in North America. They didn't even give it the Space Invaders title. Oh, yeah, this looks
God.
terrible.
Yeah, it's utter shit.
It looks really bad. But I
I
know
really
one
want it.
to get
It's
back
probably
to the
playable
topic.
for the GameCube era game.
To get back to the topic, I know a series that you would play anything from, Alan,
Yes.
and love it. Absolutely love it. Doesn't matter how bad it was.
Yes.
Resident Evil.
No. Because
You have absolutely no chill about Resident Evil, dude. You like them all. Doesn't matter how bad they are.
I do not. I've played Survivor. That game was not worth playing. Yeah, no, I would give it a shot. I'd give every major one a shot. Even, God, even 6 I tried. I gave a red hot go to out of self.
Is that the giraffe one? Which one was the giraffe one? The
Alan's
giraffe one
downplaying
goes
it
six.
right now. He really likes 6.
I actually don't hate 6. I think 6 is fine.
There we go.
Like,
There we
it's
go.
not good, but it's fine.
That's
Like, it's very fun.
you're way down the rabbit hole when you're defending Resident Evil 6.
I don't think I'm that far down the rabbit hole. I think it's a fun game. I think people are turning on it because it is so stupid. Like, it is the dumbest game I think I've ever played in my life. And I kind of love that because it's a Michael Bay movie as a video game.
And it just works because it's like the Resident Evil movies, and it's capturing the Resident Evil like aesthetic. And
That's the thing.
why
It's,
Alan
it's
loves
actually
it.
like nothing like the movies. That's what confused me is that they went for this action movie tone and then picked a completely different style of action movie to what the movies were doing. So
it's like the new movies, not the old movies.
Have you watched the
Yeah.
newest movie?
No, I need to because I
No,
heard it was
you really,
rubbish.
really, really do not need to.
No, but like I need to see how bad it is. Look, my curiosity is going to kill me.
Yeah, well, as bad as you think it is, it's actually that bad. Like
As
the
someone
worst
who
thing you
loved the
can think
original
of.
movies, I feel like I'm going to be very disappointed.
The one thing that the movie did well was capture the house. There's a scene where they run into the house, and it is like perfectly recreated the design of the original Resident Evil house. Like they did that nicely, but
It's so
the movies,
confusing to me because
the movies are
how-
lost cause when it's like the one thing that's good about it is one set.
how do they combine all like 7 different games into one movie? Because
Is that what it does?
yeah, it's like the first
No.
3 movies, games rather, is in the movie.
Yeah, but it retells the story in a way that you can't really see the second and third games in there.
Oh, good.
The first game, the influence of the first game in that movie is definitely there and very clear. But yeah, the second and third is not so. And they did weird things with Lisa as well.
Yeah, that's a shame.
They did really weird things with Lisa.
They
Anyway,
always do weird things with Lisa. She got eaten, remember?
yeah. I mean, to the
The
character,
little buggy boys were like inside of her skin going, hey. That was the plot of the first game.
So another one I think that I'm pretty far down the rabbit hole of, and I would defend pretty much any game from, I think, would be Final Fantasy. I even defend the 13 trilogy. So,
Have you played? What's the new one? What's it called? Origins.
Oh, it's the best
oh,
one.
I love Origins so much. It's so cool.
It's
it
the best one they've made in years.
is so good. And they didn't make it. It was Koei. Again.
Exactly.
I've only seen people like talk shit about it, but it interests me. I need convincing to play it.
Oh, no, you should play it.
Okay.
See, the thing about it is, right, people went into it thinking, oh, it's going to be like Final Fantasy Souls. That's basically what people thought about it. And originally, I guess they pitched it that way, which was pretty stupid. But
Right.
once you get into it, it's basically a piss take about everything to do with Final Fantasy and Souls. Like it's just taking the piss on every single level. And that's great. It was deliberately, it almost seems like it was deliberately designed to offend pretty much anybody that'd be interested in playing it. Like they're out there because everybody knows how not chill the Final Fantasy fans are. I think that's
to
putting it
explain this
nicely.
for you, Ryan. Are you the sort of person who looks at like Kingdom Hearts videos of like fans who are just a little bit too into it, and you look at that and go, huh?
Yeah, that's me. I generally don't like the fandom. of
Okay,
games
you
I
will
like.
adore this game then because it's that, but as a video game, and it's making fun of Nomura's bullshit.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like
Perfect.
it's absolutely subverting like everything. So it'd be like if you were to make a Kingdom Hearts game and go, Sora lol, and that's basically the concept of the game. That's what they've done with this one. They've taken the piss out of every self-serious thing about Final Fantasy and Souls.
That's interesting. I didn't
it's
see
great.
it as being tongue in cheek. From what I saw of it, I thought it was just completely sincere.
Oh no, it's
but
absolutely
ended up
tongue-in-cheek.
being ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
shit post.
it's absolutely, yeah, it is. It is an absolute shit post, and they know exactly what they were doing with it too. It's not accidental that it's like that. It's
Right.
very deliberate.
Because even the dialogue that's like not like Jack saying, "I'm gonna kill chaos." The dialogue is literally just it's people talking in a way that reads like really weird translations of Japanese, and
Like House of the Dead.
yeah, like there's an entire section where they're talking about like what Friends is and how they forget every time what's happened to them or something like that. And it's written in such an obviously like bizarre and inhuman way that like it can't not be intentional because like someone had to translate that, and Square has enough money to translate things pretty well at this point. So they knew what they were doing with it.
Oh no,
And I love that.
definitely the dialogue was there just to poke fun at, again, how self-serious Final Fantasy is. And then they do all these things to kind of undermine how epic Final Fantasy tries to be as well. Like everybody knows how the boss battles in the Final Fantasy game are these huge things, and they're kind of cataclysmic events, and afterwards you have the fallout, which affects everybody, and they have a half-hour cutscene afterwards and whatever. In this one, there are literally boss battles where you beat the boss, and then what happens afterwards is literally a 5-second cutscene of everybody just kind of shrugging and walking off. That's it.
Yeah, well, Limp Bizkit plays in the background.
Yeah, they do all kinds of
Right.
things like that. It's just great. It is such a good game. That is exactly kind of how you take a really long-running series that has a very distinct style and fan base and just say, well, we're going to make fun of you.
Yeah, eat shit. This is lame. If you think this is cool, you're hilarious. We're going to make fun of you.
Yeah, that's basically it. And it worked. I loved it.
It's wonderful. Also, the combat's really good as well. Like the game doesn't get enough credit for the fact it does play pretty well, and it's really like the job system is really, really cool. So,
yeah, it's got some good stuff to it. Like it's not a bad game by any means. It's a game that is funny, and it's deliberately kind of undermining Final Fantasy and Dark Souls and whatever. But it's not a bad game. That's a very different conversation. Like a game that's just bad is bad, but this one is not.
Yeah, it owns. It's really fun. It's just it knows what it wants to be and it loves it, and I appreciate that on a bunch of different levels, because hell yeah, I love when games know what they are and sort of come at you on the same page. It's the same thing, I guess, with like Metal Gear games. Like I will probably play every Metal Gear game that comes out, even though I know it's gonna be utter rubbish from now on, because Survive was the worst thing that I'd played in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're still keen on playing Metal Gear games after Survive, then you're pretty much a fan of the series, I think.
Yeah, it's hard for me to defend it. Although apparently that new Sniper Elite game is just a Metal Gear Solid game in disguise. So I'm low-key interested in that. So yeah, even if it's like not in the same series, I will still play any game that says it's like Metal Gear Solid 5. A very good game that deserved to be finished. Maybe one day.
No,
Yeah.
the only good Kojima game is Death Stranding. Yes, it's great.
Oh.
I will play the sequel even if he wasn't attached to it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be my jam.
Yeah, I don't know about that. If it's not a Kojima thing, then I don't see how you can make a Death Stranding. Death Stranding without Kojima is literally just a dude walking around.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It's the Kojima stuff that makes Death Stranding a good thing.
Yeah, I want to see the stupid bullshit. That's what I'm there for.
And I guess that's that's kind of a similar topic that like we talk about, games that we play anything from. And I guess another way of looking at that is I would play any game that Goichi Suda created. I'd play any game that he made.
Yeah.
Like without even blinking an eyelid. Like
I'd play any game with a Nintendo label.
I even played the free-to-play Goichi Suda one, which was great.
Oh, Let It Die was great.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
that was a fun game.
I never play free-to-play games, but because I knew that he was attached to it, I was like, yeah, I should give it a go. And I quite enjoyed it. I didn't pay any money on it, so sorry, Suda-san. But yeah.
I'd play any Platinum Games game, but then I was wise enough to stay well away from Babylon's Fall, so maybe not.
I was so
That's
upset with that
such a
because
shame.
that game has so much potential. Like there is, I don't know how things happened. Obviously, I wasn't in the rooms with all the meetings and stuff, but I imagine Platinum had this really neat concept. They took it to Square Enix, and Square Enix was like, "Yeah, you're going to make this a live service game," and they're like, "But we don't want to." And Square Enix, "But yeah, you're going to." And that's basically what happened to it, because the game itself, if it was a Platinum Games game and wasn't compromised by whatever business decisions went into it, would have been amazing. Absolutely amazing
Yeah.
game.
Everyone says that about it because everyone says, "Oh, I bet Square Enix have ruined that," which is, fair enough considering what they've done with Marvel's Avengers and stuff, and they're very business and corporate. But Platinum Games were like quite openly in interviews saying, "Look, we want to be doing more live service stuff. Like we think that's the future of where our games should be," which is really disappointing. But yeah,
Well, maybe they'll
sadly,
reassess that now. Thank goodness.
I hope so.
I just
to be
make
honest, like,
normal
companies
games.
Yeah, the company's always just been in trouble. Like they've always been on the absolute brink of never existing again. Like Nier Automata happened, and they were like, "Well, hey, we have money now. That's good." And I'm looking forward to Bayonetta 3, but realistically, it's a niche game. There's no reason that the third one is going to introduce more people to the series. I suppose
Nier and
except
Astro
for doing
Chain
other
are the only good games they've ever made. Hot take.
How-
That is the
how could
least
you?
correct thing you've ever said.
stuff. Go play Mad World.
Oh,
Oh
man,
yeah,
it's so
Mad World.
good.
They made Mad World. I forgot about Mad World. That was like one of their original games, wasn't it? It was great.
it's really good.
Okay, Mad World.
Wait,
was good.
Ryan.
I'll give you that.
Did you play Anarchy Reigns?
I didn't probably play Anarchy Reigns actually. No, I heard that was one of the meh ones.
No, it was awesome. It was so over the top and stupid.
I
It was
played the
great.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one.
Ugh.
Yeah, and that got really bad reviews. But do you know what? In the same way, and I don't mean to compare them, but in the same way you enjoyed Dynasty Warriors, I kind of enjoyed that game. It was just like I can just shut my mind off and just play it, and it's
Well,
not great.
it was a bit disappointing because you could see what they were doing with it. They were trying to take the thing that they did with Transformers and a little bit like the Warrior series, just say, hey, we can apply this to any property. Just give us a little bit of money and we'll do it with whatever. And it could have been this thing where we have one of those games release every year or two for a different franchise. And it could have been great, but unfortunately, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles landed so flat. I think that whole concept died with it because the Transformers
Wasn't there a
one was
horror
great.
game as well?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Ugh.
But they get all their sort of, I guess, quote unquote B teams to make those licensed games. Basically, I think that the problem. I love Platinum stuff. I think the problem is they've never really worked out how to make a business model out of what they're best at, which is obviously like really high quality character action games. And they've just never really worked out how to make that work. Like Astral Chain obviously is gorgeous and in niche terms did well, but it didn't do exceptionally well. It's not like great. We have hundreds of millions of pounds in the bank now, kind of well.
I think the problem that they have is basically they make niche games, and there's always been that expectation that they punch beyond that. And for me, they're very different developers, but I always kind of compare Platinum Games to if Vanillaware was bad at what they were doing, like as a business, they would look like Platinum Games. Vanillaware, they make a very specific type of game. It's very niche, and they're very high, very, very high quality and people within that niche like them. But you don't see Vanillaware out there making 13 Sentinels Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles edition because they don't try and turn. Their business model is based around being niche, whereas Platinum Games tries to go more mainstream, I think, and that's who they're. That's a bad decision by them.
Even my favorite Platinum Games game, which is Metal Gear Rising, had one of the most cursed and disastrous development cycles, apparently. So I don't know what's going on, but it seems like every Platinum Games game has some issues in development that just really hurt for everyone. And it's such a shame because goddamn, when they hit hard. And then you end up with Babylon's Fall, which again, I played about half an hour of that. I tried to get into a game to test out because originally the plan was I was going to play that game with Matt and other Matt who have the PlayStation versions as well. The plan was that originally, and then I tried to get into a lobby to test out the game, and I literally could not get a game of Babylon's Fall at all. Like it wouldn't even let me start a match. It would just say can't find a match. Try searching again.
Yeah, I mean Matt, other Matt and I, we played it for a couple of hours, I think, and we had a really good time with it as a multiplayer thing. But that was just us. Like if we had to get randoms in. A couple of times that I had played with randoms, it's just not the same experience. It's not much fun. The concept could have been good as a multiplayer focused action game set in this kind of world, which was quite intriguing and interesting. But because they then decided that it's got to be live service, the focus was shifted to playing with randoms, which is just not much fun. And they stripped a lot of the narrative out, the narrative focus out, to push in, the kind of the way that live service games work, in that you need to be playing as much as possible, the wasting time if you're watching cutscenes and whatever. So yeah, if it was a refocused game, if they just made it a action thing where you could play in multiplayer and have a good time, then it would have been great.
Yeah, I mean,
They can
I
do that.
don't know if anyone here has played the Switch port of Devil May Cry 3, but the fact there's a
Yeah.
two-player mode in that port is one of the coolest things ever. And that's
I'm
essentially
literally
just what I
playing it
wanted.
currently. This is
Oh.
literally what I'm playing at the moment for the
Hell
first
yeah.
time. I grew
Ooh,
up
how are you
with that
finding it?
series. I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm replaying through the whole series. And yeah, like in my head, because I haven't played sort of 4 and 5.
Oh, 5
In my
is
head,
one
I
of the
was
best
like,
games ever
Devil May
made.
Cry 1 is probably the best game. But yeah, this Devil May Cry 3 is really good. It holds up. Like, it's fun.
Yeah,
It's good.
it's really, really strong. Have fun with 4. 4 is a bit of a sometimes, but still pretty dang good. And then 5 is just incredible. And the fact that I went back and played 5 on like the nerd difficulty was it's like a sign that it's pretty good, because I don't have the patience for that usually. I spent 4 hours on the final boss fight trying to beat it.